Good morning, or good afternoon, I guess it is, Chris. We are 3 seconds in, already messing up the mix, but welcome to the mix. Chris, man, what a great, crazy day. Like this whole weekend, everything's been kind of mixing together, a lot of stuff happening. But right now, actually throughout the day, we've had a couple things kind of trending on our Facebook page. And I want to get started today by talking about what is one movie title that exemplifies your life right now?
I'm going to go with What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
What's Eating Gilbert Grape? Chris was not revealing to us what his call was. So we are out of control already, but we're having a good time. Now, over easy back there, what is your entry for movie title of the day?
Now that he said that, I'm going with the good, the bad, and the ugly.
The good, the bad, and the ugly, and we don't know which one is which. No. Like, there's one that is... We'll let you vote. If you want to vote down in your comments section at the bottom, which one of us is good, which one is bad, and which one of us is ugly. I don't even want to know how people vote for that. I'm going to go with this one, man. We were looking through some movie titles earlier. She's out of my league because I married out of my league, and some of y'all did. Yeah, that's right. So anyway, that's where it is. And also, I know we had kind of a song title thing. That's kissing up, I guess. So I don't know if my wife's watched or not, but
she got in right at the time.
Did she? That was awesome. I love that. What about, Josh, we were talking about this. I don't know if Chris wants to weigh in on this one, but favorite songs out right now?
Mine would be Rescuer by Rend Collective.
I love some Rend Collective as well. But just a couple of days ago, I was in the car and I heard Fear's a Liar by Zach Williams. It's kind of right where I was at that point in my life, so those songs are out there. Thanks for kind of getting plugged into what we do on Facebook. We try to have a good, fun time with that, so thanks for checking it out. Chris, last week we had a special contest. We want to give away a free T-shirt.
Right.
What was that all about?
Well, you were supposed to, in honor of Community Fest, people were supposed to comment on their favorite thing about our community. And then we were going to, the next day, pick the winner. Well, we were slackers and we didn't.
it was a very busy.
So we have a winner today.
Yeah.
We have a winner today.
That's right.
Who's the winner?
Doug Chacon. Doug, good job, man. So let us know what size T-shirt you want. The brand new black and white Ridgepoint T-shirts are out, so you get a T-shirt. Thanks for participating. Everybody who participated, we have some good feedback. Speaking of being involved in the community this past weekend, it wasn't just Community Fest, we'll get to that in a second, but prior to that, actually back on Thursday, we had our beginning of a kind of, not our Habitat build, but our Habitat
it was kind of like a
clearing.
soft kickoff for the
right.
Habitat for Humanity project. Basically, a group of people were able to go and clear off the, help clear off the lot where the house is going to be built. I think the plan was originally to just kind of clear off some trash and stuff like that, and that was done quickly, and then they were going to hire somebody to come in and cut trees, and our people kind of stepped up, got the tools they needed, and took care of it. And so we're able to kind of clear all that off. The unfortunate side of that is that now it's kind of ground to a halt for a minute. So, we got all these permits got to happen and all that kind of stuff. And so it might be a few weeks before the next phase begins. So, but just stay tuned for that. If you're I know a lot of people have already signed up for that, but if, as we begin to announce it again later on, if you still want to get involved, you can do that. So,
And two of the cool things about that is right next door to this house is another house that was built 12 years ago by Habitat, and that family came over and was saying how excited they are. Two of the ladies who helped out that day are future Habitat owners, so it's an incredible organization. We're excited about that. Cool to be involved in the community.
So tell us a little bit about this past weekend, on Saturday specifically.
Definitely. We had Community Fest in downtown Winter Haven. We are one of 90-something or 100-something different organizations and churches that were involved with Community Fest. Really cool. I love the teams that we had. There's a lot of interaction. We were there kind of promoting our Easter services, but we had just a bunch of people. I think we had a total of about 12 people or 13 people that volunteered at some point that day and kind of helping us just get word out about what our church is about.
Right.
And we actually had some people that visit us this weekend at church that we were able to talk to at Community Fest. So that was a really cool thing. So we want to do more of that stuff in the future, being involved in our community, and it's a way of letting people know about what's happening here at Ridgepoint Church.
Right. So now I know a couple weeks ago we had scheduled a Honduras meeting, and then like some things kind of got in the way.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about the rescheduling.
Yeah, we are rescheduling that meeting. This is just an interest meeting, but I will say this: if you're interested in Honduras, it's going to start happening quickly now. The trip is until November, but all this is going to happen quickly. So March 18th, 2 weeks from yesterday, we're going to have a brief info meeting upstairs, or actually downstairs. We'll give you more information on exactly how that's going to happen. But if you're interested at all in going to Honduras, be there March 18th for a Honduras interest meeting.
And can you tell them the dates again for the trip?
November 14th to the 21st is a trip to Honduras. You'll literally be getting home the day before Thanksgiving this year. Incredible organization working with Trash Mountain Project and AFE there on the ground in Honduras. It is the trip of a life, I promise you. This will be hopefully our 11th and 12th homes that we build in Honduras. So we're really excited about that. If you're interested at all going with us to Honduras, be there March 18th for that information meeting.
Right. So coming up in actually next couple weeks, we've been talking a little bit about this on and off, but just as a reminder, we're going to be doing a couple baptism services. We're going to do one on March 18th, and then we're also planning on doing some on Easter as well, which is actually April 1st. So so Honduras meeting on the 18th, baptism on the 18th. Baptism on April 1st,
That's
Easter on April 1st. So yeah. So anyway, if you're at all interested in that, maybe you think you feel like this is what God's leading you as far as your next step in your faith, we'd love to talk to you about that. You can actually contact me, Chris, at richpointchurch.org, and we'll get you all the details, or we can talk through what that looks like. If you still have questions about that, we would love for you to kind of take that next step.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually had someone just this past weekend that, with the message, said, "Man, I'm ready to take that next step," and so we're excited about that. Man, that's what we live for, is to see people connecting with Jesus and wanting to take those next steps. So speaking of Easter, Chris, it's right around the corner. We're 4 weeks out. Right now is the time to start getting primed, start getting pumped. People are already starting to talk about what are your Easter plans. So we have some cards.
Right.
Now, Chris, I don't know about you, but my brother and I growing up, we loved to do Mad Libs.
Right.
Did you do Mad Libs growing up?
A little bit, not a lot.
Okay, so if you're familiar with Mad Libs, basically you're writing out a story and the other person doesn't know. You're saying, give me a number or give me a noun or whatever, and you're filling in and you're writing a story. So I figure since we're doing this live, Chris, I want to do that with you so you get a little bit of practice today.
Right.
So I need a couple of things. First thing I need from you is an adjective.
Sick.
Sick. I like that.
I was going to say well.
It would work, probably not as well. See what I did. Never mind. I need another adjective.
Loud.
Loud.
As in, this is what this show is. Loud.
That's right. We are loud.
And obnoxious.
Sometimes. And I need one more adjective.
Inspiring.
That's a good. I like that one. Now, Chris,
inspiring.
I need you to choose between 9 and 11.
9.
9. Okay, I like it. And then I need an emoji.
An emoji?
Yeah.
Let's go with 100.
100. That's like my favorite right now. When you really like something, you give that 100.
To be honest, I had to look it up.
So here's the thing. Our card here, the front of the card looks like this. It's our Easter graphic. But the back of the card's a little bit of a thing that's been, for the most part, pre-filled out. It says, hey, you, Easter at Rich Point Church is going to be sick. You don't want to miss the loud music and the inspiring message. I'll be at the 9 a.m. Sunday service, and it would be 100 if you could come join me. Now, here's what we want you to do. We want you to take these cards. On the back, most of that has already been filled out in the adjectives that Chris has given to us.
You don't have to do your own ad-lib.
Yeah, you don't have to do any of those things, but we do want you to circle.
Ad-lib is what we do on this show.
That's a lot of times. We have a structure, and we throw it all away. 2 things we want you to do is, number 1, circle what service you're going to be at, 9 or 11 a.m., and then on the bottom, just simply write your name. This is a personal invite so people can know, Johnny over there, or over Easy over there, invited me to the 9 a.m. service. He's going to be there so I can sit with him. And then you hand it out to them as a way of kind of making your invite.
I will give
personal.
Josh $5 if he hands out one of those cards and puts Over Easy as his name.
I actually think I might legally change my name.
Josh thinking $5. I get Chick-fil-A again this week. I know what Josh is thinking there.
I've seen Josh eat at Chick-fil-A. It's not $5.
So anyway, man, we want you to take at least 5 of these this week. We have some neat things we're going to do in the coming weeks about inviting people to church and praying for them, and some neat ways you get plugged in. But it begins with this. So if you would take one of these this week, or take 5 of these this week, and begin inviting people out, because Easter is now 4 weeks away.
All right, so time to kind of shift gears a little bit.
Shift gears, get
We-
serious.
I mean, to be honest, this has been we're only 2 weeks into this series, and it's a pretty heavy series. I mean, we're we kind of lightheartedly called it, 4 easy steps to wreck your life. Obviously, talking about that we don't want you to wreck your life. We want you to kind of step in ahead of time and stop some of these things before they happen. But obviously, just we're dealing with some pretty heavy topics. And this past week, of course, we talked about addiction, and we talk about there's all kinds of addictions, not just chemical dependencies and things like that. But it was interesting, you shared some interesting statistics. You said you did a lot of research as you were prepping for this. Can you share like some of the other things that maybe you just didn't have time to share?
Yeah,
yesterday?
we were talking about that in general. An addiction is anything that we lean on when we should be leaning on Jesus. Like that's an addiction. But when we tend to think about addictions, we think about, in particular, about drug addictions. Like we think about these are the things that people just can't seem to get past.
Right.
And on Monday, I just kind of sat down and said, okay, I know I've heard a lot about this, but I want to be informed as well. And so I started to study, and actually back at the end of last year, our governor actually declared a public health emergency about the opioid epidemic that was taking place here in our state. It isn't so much in our area just yet, but it's coming in quickly. But I saw one statistic that said, because it's really there's a couple of ways it affects us. The most direct way is that people are losing their lives, like on a daily basis. People are losing their lives. In South Florida alone last year, 1,700 people died because of opioid abuse, so overdose or some sort of abuse that took place. What's happening a lot of times is people, and opioid can be anything from, and I mentioned this a little bit I think in first service yesterday, from legally regulated drugs that are misused, like painkillers like oxycodone and hydrocodone, even to methadone and morphine, into the illegal drugs like heroin, and the new one that's really the deadly killer is fentanyl. And what's happening is a lot of times people are thinking they're using heroin, which is bad enough in and of itself, but they're actually getting fentanyl, which is deadly. And their overdose is on accident because they thought they're getting one thing and they get another. And so the direct effect of what's taking place in our state right now is 1,700 people just in South Florida alone died often because of this overdose inadvertently through the use of the drug they didn't expect. And so there's a direct effect, but there's also a couple of other negative consequences that aren't direct. They said the number of children that have been abandoned by parents and eventually put into the foster care system because of the opioid abuse has risen, I think they said, by 9% last year. That most of the children that today are in the foster care system are there because of neglect, and that is happening because parents are misusing drugs to the point they can't take care of their kids. 2 out of every 1,000 children in our state go into the foster care system because of neglect. So not just 2 out of the 1,000 in the foster care system, but 2 out of every 1,000 children in our state end up in the foster care system because of that one issue. Right. So that's one negative effect. The other negative effect is that we have to figure out a way to care for the people that have these abuses. And so because of that, it affects them through death. It affects the children because of neglect. But it also affects all of us because of rising insurance costs, because we have to take care of this epidemic that's literally just killing our state. And so the number that I heard was probably the most staggering statistic in this whole study, was that in our state currently, and a lot of people right now are calling for, we have to do a better job of legislating who's getting these, especially the legal opioids that are out there, that there are 81 prescriptions for opioid for every 100 people in our state. So that means there's almost 1 prescription per person in our state right now. So there's this abuse. There's not really a national clearinghouse to know, okay, you're getting Oxy from this doctor, but right now there's not enough information out there. Right. And so because of it, it's becoming an epidemic, and people are overusing, and people are dying, and children are being neglected. And so because of that, we have to do something about this. because this addiction is literally killing our people. It's affecting our kids, and it's leading to all of us having to cover the costs for it.
Right. So, obviously this is a huge problem. And, obviously as people who believe, we know that prayer and thoughts are important, but we also know that that's not the complete answer, that there are other things that we can do as well.
Yeah.
What do you think that we can do in this situation?
Yeah, there's been this backlash, it seems like, lately
Right.
against the whole thoughts and prayer movement, and I don't think the backlash is healthy at all. I think that I've seen before where people just want to express their condolences and like, hey, I'll let you know that my thoughts and prayers are with you, and then I think because of the school shootings and everything that have taken place, some people said, well, thoughts and prayers aren't enough, and I understand what they're saying. What we do as believers begins with, when I express my thoughts and prayers, it's like, hey, I want to express the sympathy I have towards your loss, towards the heaviness of stuff that you're dealing with, and that I want to pray because I believe that the one who's created all of this is the only one that's going to bring completion to it.
Right.
And so because of that, I want to pray that God would intervene into your situation. If it's provide comfort, that he'd be your comforter. If it's provide a solution, it's that he'd become that solution for you. So there has to be a balance. It begins with thoughts and prayers. It begins with saying, man, I feel sympathy towards your situation. I feel sympathy towards your plight. And because of that, I want to pray for there to be deliverance. When it comes to this topic, I want to pray for you to be delivered, because ultimately Jesus is the only one that's going to bring true deliverance to that person. But we have to realize that Jesus might bring deliverance through a variety of means. It might mean, like I talked about yesterday, seeking professional counsel, setting up accountability. But the fourth one there was actually walking in step with the Spirit of God. And so the idea is that we want to help people out, not just throwing them a bone and saying, hey, go do this and figure it out on your own. But I want to enter into the fray. I want to enter the mess with you to help you figure this thing out.
Right.
Now, I think we have to be careful because I don't think we can do that with everybody. But there are people that we're called to really get in the mix with.
Right.
And I know the challenge to not do that because it's messy and it hurts and all those things. I was talking to someone recently, an acquaintance that I met, and he was kind of talking me through some stuff. And there's a family member I'm trying to help out, and it's not necessarily my responsibility, but kind of the other person's an adult, and he's like, man, that's not your problem. You shouldn't have to deal with it. And I appreciate the sentiment that he's trying to express was that we all have a lot going on,
Right.
and that if it's not your immediate responsibility, wash your hands of it because that's not you. But we're supposed to be there for each other. We're supposed to be helping each other out, especially as followers of Jesus. We're supposed to exemplify him as best we can. His incarnation is him coming to where the mess was. He didn't stay in heaven and say, figure it out yourself. He said, I'm going to enter into your mess. And when I enter into your mess, I'm going to provide hope and a future for you. And so we enter in the mess. We realize, man, discipleship is messy. It's dirty.
Right.
But that's what we need to do. And to be there in those low moments to say, hey, no matter what, I'm not giving up on you.
Right.
So, yeah, some heavy stuff, Chris.
Yes, absolutely.
We transitioned from joking and frivolity to some heaviness and
frivolity.
Frivolity. That's a word that we use often. So anyway, Josh, anything we missed back there?
Now you guys know it. Only thing I got that I thought was pretty cool today is how, at least the way Facebook notified me, people came on today. Like totally
That's
God
good.
moments. Literally, Beth came on right before you made your comment.
Yeah,
that was
that's
totally
good.
one of these. And then Doug came on right as we're announcing him as the winner.
Man,
Which
that
is
was
pretty
cool. That was
and
cool.
then right when we're getting ready to talk about Honduras, Alan Tackett, who's helping lead a lot of that,
Man.
comes on right then. Like, it's just like, man,
It's
this
like
is awesome.
we were just waiting for you to show up. Any questions from the peanut gallery that we missed? Any things that we have to still cover?
No, I think we're good.
All right. So Chris, I know we didn't ask about your favorite song because you didn't want to enter into that. Any ideas on what you might have put into the mix on that?
What's eating Gilbert great?
What's eating Gilbert great for that as well? I love it. Hey, thanks for checking out the mix today. We'll see you this coming Sunday, 9 and 10:45 a.m.